Okay, I just want to make a quick response video to a few of the people who have mentioned some issues with my previous video. So I forgot to include some of the images of the real crop circles, which I planned to do, but I didn't. So here in this video, I'm just going to show you my reference material, the images that I used, and some of the schematics that people have done. Most of them are from cropcirclecenter.com, as they've done a lot of work and did actually excellent work recreating the crop circles in a digital format, top-down view. And so majority of my reference material was from images to make sure that they were accurate, and even had to fix some errors, and then also using cropcirclecenter.com images, as well as some other ones from other places, but you'll see quickly here. Also keep in mind that this is a small fraction of relationships, and there are several keys that we'll be reviewing in later videos. Somebody also pointed out that there are no dimensions in my video. That is because basically these circles are geometry, and it is like self-correcting geometry. And so what that means is that there can be a little bit of inaccuracy in the drawing, and if you base it relative to other circles, you can find out where the errors are and how to correct them. That's what the point of this geometry is. And so some of my geometries are not 100% accurate because I'm using different sources here as references, so keep that in mind. And I also try to adjust my geometries to fit, but the adjustments are very negligible. Slight changes that are necessary to make the design work. And this is basically inherent of the geometry. It's designed this way to allow for small errors in case they occur. And these are real. They're made by something real. Determining how they're made is not nearly as important as the message. So once that message is decoded, only then will we see the true meaning and be able to determine their validity. Who made them is also not as important as the message. So since it hasn't been decoded 100% yet, I think it's important to focus on that. Regardless of who made it or for what reason, it's important to decipher the message, I think, even just for fun. You know, if there's some cryptographers out there who like this kind of stuff, I think this is a cool project. Okay, so the most important part of these circles is the center circle. It sets the scale of everything. When you scale that circle so that the centers are the same size, when you scale these circles so that the centers are the same size, everything just kind of aligns afterwards. There's further alignments that occur naturally. And the center circle is the major key. The problem is that this alone is not enough to determine the orientation relative to each other in these circles. This requires additional keys. Okay, so I'm going to quickly show you the relationships in detail on these few crop circles that I've shown. I'm only going to cover about 3 or 4 of them, so you'll get the idea after this. So some of the relationships in this circle are the cross-member lines that form the orientations, like the north, south, east, west, and all those. There's straight lines. Those ones overlap each other. Then you have this center ring, or the second ring that overlaps, and also on the edge with the little triangles, they overlap. They don't overlap, sorry, they meet the second ring for an alignment. And then if you look here on the bottom corner, you'll notice how these lines line up with the zigzag spiral in the circle there. They kind of all line up on individual lines, and you can see them. I pointed them all out. Okay, moving on to the next pair. See how they relate here in a minute. Now you notice that these ones have when they overlap on their second ring, they have the 2 double arrows and the single arrow. They overlap each other perfectly. And then on the second ring that you don't quite see here, but it's kind of like a half ring, that is half of what the second ring is, and it aligns on only half of it. And then if you can see these tiny little triangles only fit inside that ring. It's really kind of efficient that way. And then also these tiny little dots fit in these triangle tips of the triangles. You can see these tiny little circles around the outer ring here. They fit inside the tips of those triangles, and it's meant to be that way. Also the cross-member lines that form the orientations, north, south, east, west lines there on the circle, they line up, and so does the center circle. It all lines up. Like I mentioned before, that center circle is the most important size for determining the scale. Okay, next pair. And you'll see how these two have the double arrows that line up, so that determines its orientation to each other. And then also the center circle lines up, so do the cross-member lines, as well as this outer second ring, the outer second ring there that forms kind of like a solid ring with a dotted ring on the inside. That's forming the second ring. So all these alignments are based on the center circle size. Okay, and with our last pair here, you'll notice that these ones also have a center circle alignment and the cross member alignment with those north, south, east, west lines. This one's divided into more divisions, no problem. And then we also have an alignment with the double arrows on the bottom here, and also the double arrows on the side, as well as you'll notice that one of these petals contains the circles there. Okay, and we have an alignment with this outer ring and the line of that second circle. They kind of form a boundary. And when we combine all these shapes together, you'll notice that these darker areas are the overlapping, and you'll see that some of the alignments I've pointed out here with the outer rings, the inner rings, and the center circle and how they all align. Okay, I hope that answers all of your questions, and if you have more, feel free to ask. Most of these questions come from Reddit, where I've posted these videos, so also look forward to more information on this circle as I go into detail about some things that we've not covered yet. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.